Welcome to One Game at a Time for our final season preview for the men's NPL here in South Australia. Alessio, Mark, David, for the final time for these season previews.
Very somber.
Is it? Are you upset it's over?
For the final time.
We'll go through every single NPL team. Look, they've brought in quite a few new coaches as well. And then at the end, as we have done for our other ones, see who we think will finish in the league, surprises, all that sort of stuff. Alphabetical order, starting with Adelaide City. New coach in Vas Parhas, John Hall, Jean-Paul Mbembe, Yuki Kitano confirmed in and announced. Dakota Oxenham, Adam Piscineri and Rafael Leai all departing, and rumoured in, which they've had on team sheets, is Jun Otto, who's a Japanese defender. What do you think of them in this coming season, David? We'll go along the line.
I've got Adelaide City to do okay this year. Final series, to make finals anyway. Last season they had they start off with 5 wins in a row and then they lost about 7 or 8 in a row. And it looked like at one stage they might go down. I don't think that'll happen this year. I'm anticipating that they'll make finals and do okay in finals. Maybe not win the title, but do okay. Not a lot of ins and outs compared to a lot of other teams, I notice as well. So,
but a new coach.
But a new coach, yeah. So I guess that there's 2 ways to look at that. They'll hit the ground running and go well, or they'll take ages to gel and it'll slowly get to where they want to be. They'll slowly get to where they want to be, and impossible to predict. I find this really hard to predict when it's not.
Alessio?
Yeah, I mean, another in I saw for them as well, Binyam Kabidi during the season. I think that's another good forward inclusion to have, especially with after last year with Dorba being injured for so long. They had to retrofit other players to play up there. Larry Latanzio, Bucco, Karachia, Rasan even played up top, I'm pretty sure, in one of the games. But another powerhouse of a club in the local league, as we talked about, their women, who want to get a better season than last year. I think they're going to have quite similar. They finished 4th last season after all that poor start. That's a quite successful season still, and had a fair run in the final series as well, eventually losing out to Metro Stars. But I think John Hall coming in, that's replacing a great keeper with another great keeper, in my opinion. Yuki Kitano as well, coming off a Marconi Stallions championship as well. Quite quality forward as well from all accounts as well. So I think going forward they're going to be doing all right. And that was one of their main problems last year. I mean, they had the defence that's been there quite a few years. I'm not sure what's going to happen to Stokes as well. Been hearing things maybe he's not playing this year. I'm not sure. But otherwise, I think they're going to have a successful season.
Mark?
Yeah, look, I think for me the biggest thing, as Alessio just alluded to, they've got some great ins, but for me, I look at it and go, okay, they've got a new coach in Vas Parhas, and he's been around. He's been at West Adelaide. He's been with Adelaide United as well. I think that's a big key for Adelaide City. They've brought in a good coach, but they've had Pezos for such a long time. It's going to be interesting to see how the team then, because a lot of those players have been with Pezos for some time, how they then change and adapt to the new coach. So if that can settle quickly, then they'll do well. But that's I think the biggest concern for Adelaide City is it's almost like a Wenger and Ferguson thing. When they replaced those two, they struggled with their first appointments after for someone being there for so long. So it's just a matter of how the team and the club itself adapt to Vas and vice versa.
Either that or you get a Arnie Slot. So
yeah, well you could do, yeah.
Who's manager of Queen's Park, David?
Callum Davidson.
Would you put him in the upper echelons of Wenger and Ferguson?
He's an absolute hero of mine at this point in time, but if he leaves and goes to another club, then it could change.
On to Adelaide Comets. A lot of outs. Adam Lecornu, Nathan DeGento, Alan Walsh, Ryan Yates, all gone to Burkalla. But also a number of ins. Matt Chandler, the very big, tall defender. Gianni Tremonton, Harry Thomas, Seb Good, and Nikola Stojanovic. How do you think they'll go this season? First season as well at Ellis Park.
Well, Harry Thomas is a big one, isn't it? I mean, he had a great season last year. He was somebody that I remember you screaming his name at when you were at matches and you were doing the commentary. And Seb Good, another big, tall, impressive player as well. So those players coming in will certainly, I think, have got the ability to be able to contribute to Comet's fortunes in a positive way. But there's significant losses, aren't they? Adam Lecornu, Andy Janto, Alan Welsh, and Ryan Yates. I mean, all 4 of them were regulars last year.
And they're probably names I've always associated with Adelaide Comets, to be honest.
Yeah, they seem to have been there a long time.
Part of all their league titles as well, those few as well. That's probably the old guard they've had since probably at least I'd say like 2016, 17 maybe.
Yeah, but significant losses, aren't they? I mean, they are 4 first-team players. They weren't bench players really. So yeah, I don't know how they'll cope with that.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of other ones I saw as well. Giselle Kundaho, who used to play for West Adelaide, he was there when they got promoted into the NPL from State League. I think in that year that I think he might have been there with Asad Kasumovic, Sudic, that kind of year. So that's another winger. But again, Seb Good, another goal scorer consistently. Might get a lot more games here than at B grade where there was so many strikers to contest with. Harry Thomas, did have a good year last year, but he didn't start many games and he didn't get to play too many. He was on the bench a lot of the time, or he was playing out of position, left fullback. So I'm excited to see him have a full season under his belt, hopefully being a starter in a lot of them, and most importantly, playing out of Ellis Park.
Mark?
Yeah, I think Seb Good had a bit of an injury-riddled season last year, so hopefully if he can get his find his fitness and that, he'd be quite a good signing. I think they might have also lost, is it the Ikonomedes, one of the Ikonomedes?
Lucas Ikonomopoulos. I think the other one has stayed still, yeah.
Yeah, so again, just a good squad player. He never really got to start every week, but still a good squad player. So they've lost those players, but a new coach. They've got Con Antonio in again. So it'll be interesting to see how he settles the side. Obviously, they're big outs, and I think that's what everyone sees when you look at Comets this year is the outs, because they are big players. They're big game players, and to be honest, they're all leaders as well. So you're not only replacing players, but you're replacing Welsh, former captain. Anna Janto's been around a long time. He's a leader. Ryan Yates, captain. I think he was vice captain or captain last year. And Lecornu marshals a back four brilliantly. So you're losing leaders, and that's going to be hard to replace for them.
All on Comets? All happy? On to Croatia Raiders. Vlado still very much in charge. Ins Marco Toriani from Olympic, Alessio Benvenuto, and Donatien Neonkuru comes back, David. We had a first-hand experience of playing against him, didn't we?
Oh, that's right, we did. In our little, I forgot all about that, actually. Let me tell you a story, fellas. Well, we played a little bit of social five-a-side football through the summer, and Neonkuru had the pleasure of facing us, didn't he? He did okay, didn't he? He did okay.
Yeah.
He ran rings round us, to be honest. But,
And scored 7 or...
yeah. I think the game only went for, 15 minutes?
Yeah, I don't think we actually played a game, really. It was more just we ran around for a little bit.
Ran around chasing the ball, chasing shadows.
Didn't one of their players play for us for like a certain amount of time as well, I want to say? They
that
swapped
makes
teams.
it sound even worse, doesn't it? When we had 6 and they had 4 and they were still running rings around us. I forgot about that moment of pleasure.
He probably has too, actually.
Yeah, he'd have put that right behind him.
On Croatia Raiders, though.
Yep. So I've actually seen Croatia Raiders in a pre-season match this year. Saw them at Comets with Johnny. We went along there and together and had a nice little, little ice cream together. And they look good, but pre-season's hard to tell, isn't it? You don't really know what form's going to be carried into the season when it starts. For me, Croatia Raiders probably do be much the same as they were last year. Not a lot of ins or outs. Those 3 coming in are obviously established players, and Marco Toriani, he was playing in that game. I can't remember if Neonkuru was playing or not in that match that we saw, but I think more of the same from Croatia Raiders. I think Vlado is probably just going to finish in mid-table like they did last year. Where were they last year?
Ninth.
Is that mid-table according to your calculations?
Yeah.
Just about.
Sounds about right.
It's between 2nd and 10th.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah, mid-table.
This year.
I think they're going to have a pretty big improvement. I mean, I've talked to a few of their players, Reece Thompson, Vinny Barbaro. They were probably disappointed with the finish they had, especially having such a quite good start, getting some points at the start of the season, and then...
Well, they pretty much got pulled into a relegation battle towards
the
end of it.
And I think having some players fit for the whole season. I mean, Anthony Costa, your captain, your probably leading scorer, you'd hope during the season. I mean, he was my Golden Boot predictor from the last season, and he didn't even play till probably like the last 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But I think having him for full season, having Paul Radici up there, having a out-and-out winger like Donatien Neonkuru, I mean, you have Stefan Matteo and him on both wings. You have Anthony Costa and Paul Radici up top. I mean, that's too experienced and too young on the wing. That's one of the perfect combinations. So I think they're going to have a better year than last year, and I hope they make finals again in the NPL.
Mark?
Yeah, look, I think much of the same as last year. Yeah, there'll be a slight improvement, but I think it'll be much of the same. They'll have their games where they get the results, and there's going to be plenty of games where it doesn't go their way. But yeah, look, I'm not expecting an out surprise package from them, but they'll be there or thereabouts. Again, I think this year the league, I think for me it's a blanket over that mid table like it was last year.
Adelaide United, the youth team, out Jake Porter, Riley Stam, James Carocci, and Matthias Aloisi. Looks like it's Modbury for him. Rumoured ins look like on team sheets Alex Battistella and Frank Busasa. Some very, very interesting ins, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they've also lost Yorgos Katsumbis as well in goals, but otherwise that team is just players getting progressed through and through. So some of the names we probably see on the team sheets in the first team now would have been probably reserves last year or on the bench the year before, stuff like that. So I think that'll be interesting to see. I mean, it depends now with a lot of the players that we've seen in the NPL team getting more of a consistent run in the A-League team. Your Johnny Yules, Alagic, etc., Luka Jovanovic. They probably won't have them coming down as much as they would like. Obviously, you've got two young wingers, Battistella and Busasa, who probably hit and miss at this young age. They're probably in a good age themselves to have an opportunity to play Adelaide United youth team, but otherwise consistency maybe is not part of their game just yet. So I think they're going to have a bit of a struggling season at Adelaide United. I mean, they had one last year compared to the year before that as well, just a bit lower again in sixth place, making finals, but not being as starlight as the previous year in the final series. But I think they're going to have a tough season at Adelaide United youth.
Mark?
Yeah, look, they've lost some experience, and again, it's a whole cycle with Adelaide United that when they start to hit that certain age, and as you touched on there, Alessio, with some of the A-League players, we're not going to see them back, but we will see the likes of Crawford having to step up a little bit more now. Taladera, who did get his first start on the weekend, but he's going to be now one that's going to have to step up a little bit more again in that youth team, because I don't think he's one of those players that will take over that role of a Johnny Yule that can play between both A-League and the NPL. So I think they're going to struggle a little bit this year. They've got a few younger players. They've lost the likes of some centre backs that are experienced in John Paul Mbemba. So I think that it will be a tough year for
David, finally to you.
Yeah, just to echo what the lads have already said. I think it'll be a tough year for them. It's a hard team to coach, isn't it? Because as we mentioned before, players coming in and players unavailable throughout the season, depending on their obligations to the senior team or the A-League team, should I say.
And then, of course, at some point that break comes that they have to take those A-League players that come up and down.
4 games or something as well.
I think it might even be more.
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
4 weeks, yeah. Which is potentially 5 games, I suppose, isn't it? If there's a midweek. Here or there, a catch-up game. But yeah, I echo what the guys have said here. I think it'll be a tough year for them and hard team to coach anyway for Ayrton Andrioli.
Campbelltown City next. Daniel Mullen in charge this time around. James Crotchy, Adam Leon Bruno, Adam Pictionary, Luca Magetto all in. Yohei Matsumoto, Shogo Yoshikawa, Kristen Konstantopoulos out. And then some ins. Kwabena Appiah, former Wellington Phoenix player, and Javin Alec Way from the Solomon Islands also joins. Alessio, you've seen quite a bit of Campbelltown this season, pre-season. What have you made of them?
Yeah, I mean, some other big outs for them as well is Dan Mullen himself as a player and Jake Halliday. But otherwise, it's an interesting team. I mean, and Woodlands as well in goals. There's another out. So they've had quite a few shuffling around. Adam Leon Bruno, I'm sure, is a player they're expected to see there after a while with his dad being the president. So he's finally stepped into the colours of Campbelltown City. I think he might have played his juniors there. It was the last time he was there. But otherwise, that's probably a like-for-like replacement with Jake Halliday. But otherwise, their starting 11 is going to be pretty much similar to what it was last year from the start. But their bench is the only thing that's probably got a bit thinner this year. A couple of players with obviously a lot of potential and point to prove. But otherwise, I think, they're going to be pretty similar to last year, but a lot of young players to prove something from the bench.
David?
I think you're right to point out Daniel Mullen is a bit of a loss on the park. Another one of the nice guys, isn't he? Not that there's any not nice guys, but yeah, it's I'm a bit disappointed that we won't get to see him. And Halliday, of course, has hung up the boots as well, so he won't be around. But yeah, some new guys coming in there with a bit to prove. But I still think Campbelltown City will finish up in the top 1, 2, or 3.
Mark, finally to you.
Yeah, look, I think with the Dan Mullen stepping into the box, into the coach's box, I think that he'll want to stamp his, not authority, but the way he wants them to play. It'll be slightly, I think there'll be a slight change from the Mitriciani days. So I think he'll want to put his own stamp on that that team. So as we've already seen, a few players have already gone, Woodlands and Yohei and Yoshikawa. So I think he's already starting to go, yep, there's his stamp on some of the players that he may have not wanted to keep in the side and was happy to move them on. He's obviously trusting the team, the blood that he's got in that team, the young players coming through. So I'm just curious to see how he goes. I think the team itself will be very much similar to last season. They may not start brilliantly, but as I've always said, you don't need to start well. You just got to make sure you're there at the end of the year.
Next up, Croydon. George Sonis in charge now. Another new coach.
Another
David.
nice guy.
Another nice guy.
Croydon for me probably be similar to last year again. Not a lot of ins and outs, is there? Although, do we have a goalkeeper?
Daniel Margash, it looks
in?
like we've seen on some team sheets. Otherwise, the rest of them are a couple of youngsters as well. Luca Trimboli has come across, I think, from Mulberry Jets as well. Oscar Slattery from Comets. And Thomas Manstroni from Campbelltown City Reserves. But he looks like he's playing a lot of games with the first team at Croydon.
Passia John and David Jr. as well. The Solomon Owens also joining alongside them, Mark on Croydon.
Yeah, look, it'll be an interesting one for them this year. It's stepping away from Dodds and Fife, who finished the season. So it's going to be a tough year for them because they've got they're in an awkward position, the fact that they haven't been where they want to be the last few years. So they've had to branch out a little bit. So I think if Margouche is if he is confirmed signing for them in goal, that's a massive, massive in for them. Just a goalkeeper can save you 6 points a season, can win you 6 points a season just on his saves alone. So and I think he's got the pedigree to be able to do that in a Croydon team. So I think that's a massive in for them.
Any other points on Croydon before we move on? Very, very good. FK Beergrad. Adrian Deloya still very much in charge. Ins quite a few. Riley Stam, Kristen Constantopoulos, Marcus Orchard, Christian Borgetto, Lorenzo Baselli, and Cooper Nunn all joining the club. I'm not sure of the outs. But again, quite a few players who apparently by some eyes look very, very promising for Beergrad, David.
Yeah, I mean, Riley Stam didn't really get his feet off the ground when he went to Adelaide United.
Quite disappointingly, really.
Yeah, from Parahills Knights.
Yep.
And I think we all had kind of high hopes for him last year, but it never really worked for him. So hopefully he gets a big break at Beergrad under Adrian Deloya. Another nice guy who's coaching in NPL here in South Australia. Top bloke, lovely chap. So Riley Stam, looking forward to seeing him maybe get a bit more of a break in that team, and Beergrad to maybe just build a little bit on where they finished last year. They'll be disappointed to finish 7th, just missing out in finals last year. So their aim will be to finish in that top 6, won't it?
Alessio?
Yeah, I mean, I echo what David said as well. Some of those ins are fantastic. I mean, Constantopoulos, over the last couple of years, besides last year, he was injured most of it, and the year before, he probably had few injury concerns as well, but before that he was one of the best midfielders in the league, polling so many votes, and he's still a young player. He had the potential to play in the A-League. I think he might have played one game himself, but otherwise they've pretty much filled in where the positions they lost. They lost left back in Liam Bruno, they picked one up in Orchard. They lost a striker in Seb Good, they picked up Riley Stam. They got an import in Lorenzo Baselli. They've got Cooper Nunn, who's come back as well, defender, who was with him prior, and I think they've just picked up where they left off, and they'll have a decent season next year. Probably a lot of people probably had them a bit lower last year than what they did finish. That was a good season for them, but I think they're going to go even higher this year.
And Mark, just finally on to you.
Yeah, look, I actually really like the way they've built their squad. They've got a lot of players. They've got, as we said, a few players in, but they've strengthened where needed. They've got actually some depth this year as well. As long as they can keep the fit, especially as Alessio talked about there was Kristen, if they can keep players like that fit, and competing for spots all year, because they've got competition all over the park, which is fantastic. They've got at least almost 2 players for every position. So it's fantastic to be able to see that, and good players too. So, and it starts at the back. They've got Kavanagh and Signorello in goal. So I think they're going to aim for a big year this year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do.
Who's next? Metro Stars. Danny Greystone's side, 9 signings for a team that high. It's probably quite rare to almost rebuild practically, I think.
Yeah, and that's quite a settled side as well. So if I was a player in that existing 11 from last year, I'd be thinking, well, who's going to get dropped? I mean, there's some quality players in that group as well. With that Owen Windsor, who's come in from overseas as well, Arby Molas, Jake Porter. I mean,
Well, they've got 3 very good strikers alone in Windsor, Porter, and Nagamatsu. And typically, at maximum, you'd have 2 strikers on a pitch at any
maybe he's
given
going to
time.
play a 1-1-8. That's maybe what
But the
he's
problem
saying.
is he's got 4 centre backs.
Yeah.
So is that a 4-2-4? Yeah, I don't know why. There's so many players coming in. Are those? Where do they all fit?
Well, that's funny you say that. I was chatting with someone from Metro Stars in Anthony Salagna, who's come back out of. He took a year off and played amateurs, and he's back this year. And I said to him, well, you've got 4 centre backs. They've got him, Muhitara, who they've picked up from Para Hills.
Very good
They've
centre
got
back.
D'Angelo and Noah McNamara, all 4 centre backs. And he said to me, he goes, when he was there the year before, they had 4 centre backs. He goes, but they never all were all fit at the same time. They were either injured, suspended, or something like that. So they effectively only had 2 each week.
Yeah.
So he goes, it actually worked out quite well in that regard. So, I mean,
It's just really strong squad depth, really.
It's amazing squad depth. And funny enough, when you look at it, you go, okay, cool. They've got 4 centre backs. They've got an amazing group of strikers. They've still got Woodford and Hamish Gow and Barbiero in the middle of the park, right? And then you go, okay, cool, but that's fantastic. You've got 2 goalkeepers. They've picked up, is it Kutsumbus, Alessio?
Yorgos, yep.
Yeah, they've picked him up to challenge Ostrike. They've picked up Owen Windsor in a striker who, if going by their last 3
And a
strikers,
visa spot as well.
Yeah, if they've picked up the last 3, like if he goes anything by the last 2, which was Ren and James Hemilkovsky, who knows what could happen? But funny enough, I look at it and go, the only 2 positions they haven't probably out and out strengthened in is the 2 fullback roles in Walls and Nagel. So unless one of them gets injured, then it's a change of formation where they may have to play 3 at the back. But it's just incredible how they've just managed to strengthen their squad. We don't know what they've lost, but they've also got who was the holding midfielder who ended up playing the finals in centre back? Fortunato, who's he's a young player, brilliant at centre back. They've brought in 2 centre backs. Are they going to push him back into the midfield?
Even Anton Redmore, that's another centre back.
Oh.
I just figured I looked at him up what position they said when he announced, but he's also a centre back. It looks
so
like.
It's like just wow. How are you going to fit them all in? How are you going to keep them all happy? So that's
keeping them all happy is a key thing as well, isn't it?
It is.
There's probably some egos there as well, with all due respect.
Yeah,
there's probably some guys there who are thinking, I should be in that team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the joys of being the number 1 team in the state at the moment. I mean, they were last year. They won the league last year. And stuff like that. The joys of everyone wants to play for Metro. But tell you what, I don't know how he's going to keep them all happy. And if he does, fair dues. Like that's some great management right there. But they've got one hell of a squad assembled.
I want to play for Metro, Danny, if he's listening. You want to play for Metro?
Nah.
You don't count because you're playing for someone else.
Yeah.
You want to play for Metro?
Yeah, sure, why
We'll
not?
put the applications in. I mean, what's another 3 players, right?
Modbury Jets. Probably the surprise of last season, I reckon. Alex Woodlands in as goalkeeper, we're pretty sure. Of course, Ryan Neal has to be out as per the rules for this coming season. Looking at team sheets, Matthias Aloisi, Yusei Ogawa, another Japanese defender, Patrick McGregor, Louis de Troyer, and Zakaria Abdullahi, the Somalian international, I believe. A team which surprised us. Do we think they will surprise again, positively or negatively?
Maurice Natal, what a nice guy.
Mate, the coaches you don't say a nice guy are going to have an issue with
I know
you.
maybe they will. Maurice Natali, what a nice guy, great team. Look, I think he probably has overachieved a little bit with that Modbury Jets side. They got into that Federation Cup final last year, and a lot of people probably didn't think they were going to do that, and then they did well in terms of finals towards the end of the year as well. So I still think they'll be there or thereabouts. And I think maybe Maurice Natali's the difference between a side that wasn't expected much of and a side that has done very well. I think he's maybe been a bit of a difference there for them.
I think the only thing for me with Modbury is that probably the last 5 years they have become a bigger club, but when they get to like a grand final or a cup final, they falter at that last stage, whether it was the game against United, the cup final last year. That's the only thing that I think worries me about them. If they do well, it's those big games they just seem to not really cope with very well.
Cup final against Adelaide City 2022
Even
as well.
arguably that Australia Cup game against Melbourne, Serbia, they probably could have and should have won, and they just didn't.
Yeah.
Alessio.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I've watched them once in pre-season so far, but I've looked at their squad as well. They look like they picked up Fred Sunday and Christian Darginho as well. But it just looks like they've got players everywhere. The bench is stacked with players who've played a lot of games. You've got both Detroit brothers, both McKay brothers. Who's the other brother?
I was going to say there's one more set of brothers.
Doherty brothers as well.
Yeah.
So they have all the attack everywhere. And in the game I watched them, actually, they didn't score until the second half, so they missed a lot of the opportunities. But it's just interesting to see as such a team who's come up from 2022, they're a State League 1 team, to now being cemented top 3 every year they've been in the NPL so far after that. So I just think they're going to be a fantastic team. I'm tipping them to have a great season this year as well with a team like that. If they keep everybody happy, I mean, one of the brothers of each of those sets maybe might not start every week, but otherwise, if you can keep everybody else happy, keep people off the bench, you got those young players coming through. Matthias Aloisi's a young player, Zakari Abdullahi's a young player, McGregor, who's come across from the youth team, he's finally getting a lot of games under his belt, and you still have the players who've been there a long time. You've got your Francescas, Skimitzis up front as well, so they just got players everywhere, I think, and I think they're going to be one of the favourites this year.
If all three brothers do stuff, it makes it a very good fact for commentary, Mark.
Well, it makes it also very easy because you can say one name and you're covering 6 players.
Yeah.
So, but no, look, Modbury really exciting. I think their squad, what they've put together over the last couple of years, Morris has built a squad. He's now adding to that squad, making it stronger, and they're really exciting. I'm really excited to see what they do. It's such a shame that they were unable to keep Ryan Neild. As we know, it's a rule that I do not agree with, and I think it's ridiculous, to be honest. But I think they're going to be a standout side this year.
Next up, their direct rivals in Para Hills Knights. They've probably, I'm not sure who they have game. It was quite hard to look at. Of course, losing Lino Mohatira, quite a big centre back in terms of actual stature and importance to the side.
Yep.
How do we think they will go, David?
I'll be honest, because that's what we're all about. I don't think they're going to do too well this year, Para Hills Knights. They're my hot tip for relegation. Not a lot of changes there. They've got a rumoured in Augustus Williams, and of course Muhatira leaving is a significant blow for them as well. But they finished 10th last year, narrowly avoided relegation, and I don't think they're going to be... I think the two teams that have come up are probably going to both stay up, and therefore the likes of Para Hills Knights are probably a favourite to go down for me. So I think it's going to be a long year for them.
Alessio?
Yeah, I think they're going to have a difficult season. I haven't seen Harrison Conant if he stayed or not yet. I've seen rumours in the off-season he was moving elsewhere, but otherwise, Augustus Williams, that's a good winger as well. I think Kelvin Canberra, I'm not sure if he was there before, but he's definitely been playing in pre-season. I think he's come over from West Adelaide. Otherwise, they have the talent. They have some players in there that could probably get you out of a bit of a sticky situation, but losing someone like Muhatira is definitely tough, especially in the back line. I mean, players like Mark Ulaj, who might get a more consistent start than he did last year. You have Luan Hassan as well, who started at the back there a couple of times as well. But we've seen some young players come in and out of that team that haven't played in the last couple of seasons before that did provide some sparks for them. So maybe they'll get a bit of a spark from those players coming through their youth system. But otherwise, I think they're going to find it tough this year.
Mark?
Not only that, new coach, whole new coaching team with Theo leaving, going to West Adelaide. They've brought in Tony Galanopoulos. I think was the assistant coach last year, but he's brought in a new assistant coach in Jim Sakinis. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out this year for them. I think they are going to struggle. I mean, they struggled last year without a striker like Riley Stam, who obviously was their talisman the year before in State League 1. So I think they're going to struggle this year, unfortunately, for Para Hills.
Second to last team for us to go through, Playford City. Of course, promoted from State League 1, and conveniently the two promoted sides finished last in alphabetical order as well. Few ins. Cholwell announced. Ben Moore still at the helm. How do we think this newly promoted side will go?
I haven't met Ben Moore. Is he a nice guy?
He is.
He's a
Very
nice
nice
guy.
guy.
Yeah, it's very
Whole
nice
club's
guy.
a nice club as well. I mean, they provide food at half time for the commentators.
Is
So.
that right?
Good
Well,
to know for locals.
Let me write that down, Alessio. Thanks very much for that little tip. Look, I think both the promoted sides are probably going to stay up, which is obviously their achievement when they first come up. I think that's their primary aim, isn't it, to stay up? I didn't see Playford much last year. I did commentate on the first leg of the game that you were screaming at in the second leg, the Blue Eagles game. And at that stage, they looked good. It did look like a step down from NPL. But I have every confidence, having seen the second leg, that they'll do enough to stay up. And as long as Ben Moore's a nice guy, I wish them all the best.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the couple ins, obviously we did say Cholwell. I saw Milad Ahmad, Isasinda Hare and Emerson Zinner from Mount Barker, who was on their team sheets in the past and been signed for them as well. I think one of the main things as well, we talk about it in other leagues in the world, but going to a away place like Playford, the pitch, the stadium, the grounds, the fans, it's a tough place to go, but it's a lovely place to play if that's your home team. So I think they're going to get some interesting results there, especially if they play night games there. Night game, having to go play all the way at Playford. It's going to be tough for some teams, and in the winter
Don't
as
say
well.
all the way. It's not that far away, I must say.
But in the winter as well, I'm not sure how that pitch holds up. I haven't been there in the winter in a long time, but it's a tough place to go, and I think they're going to get some scalps during the season. And Ben Moore, he keeps that team like it has been for quite a few number of years. A lot of those players have been there. I remember going into that game, one of the players, I think it was one of the fullback, it might have been Bradley French, who said that he's been there when they were second bottom in State League 2. Now they're in the NPL. So they have players like that and a team like that with a coach who's been there that long. I think they're only bound to have some sort of success, and I think they're going to stay up for sure, yeah.
Mark,
Yeah, look, Ben Moore, top lad, great goalkeeper in his day.
write it down.
And he's proven to be a good coach as well, which is great. So my only concern for Playford is that they may have not strengthened enough for the step up. Like, they finished second in State League 1. They did beat Blue Eagles. But I'm just concerned if they don't strengthen in some areas, it may find it hard. And going to their place will be tough for teams. It's never easy playing there. Never has been, and I don't think it ever will be, to be honest. It's never an easy place to go. But I am concerned that they may have not strengthened enough to stay out of the relegation battle, but I think they'll be down there somewhere. But I hope they're not, but I just think they're going to struggle a little bit.
Last team for us to go through, West Torrens Berkala. Stav Galek is still in charge. Numerous amounts of ins. Adam Lecornu, Johan Matsumoto, Nathan DeGento, Alan Walsh, Ryan Yates, Tyrese Conway, possibly and probably George Blackwood as well to come in up front. A very strong State League side it was itself. Now coming up to the NPL has to be some sort of challenge for the rest of the teams.
It does, but I guess the key is will they gel and how quick. I mean, he's got a group of players there coming from one club, so you would assume there's an understanding there. But they're coming into a new club, a new environment with different teammates. So if he can get that to gel early on, I think West Torrens Berkala might look at mid-table, possibly a top 6 finish. If that gelling doesn't happen, then maybe they might miss out. But yeah, 4 players coming in from Comets and 4 good players coming in from Comets is a massive in for them. And Matsumoto is a good player as well, you know. So even these guys that are coming in that aren't coming in as part of that group are still quality players. So big things, I think, on the horizon for Berkala, as long as they can get them to gel early. I don't know how their pre-season games have been going. I haven't.
Well, you've watched
I watched them against Sturt, and they were not too bad in that game. I think it was only a 1-0 Sturt win in the end, but it looks like, as you said, gelling is a major thing. Like having this many signings, and we haven't seen confirmed all the outs, but there is quite a few of them as well from that promotion team. Looking in that game that I watched, I think there was only Nick Harpers and the centre back Djurjevic were the only 2 from the promotion team.
Oh, okay.
A couple might have been out as well, Scambia Terra, etc. But otherwise, besides that, there was nobody else from the promotion team. Your Costa Mantis, Soy Sakani, Queechy.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stevenson.
There's the Milad Ahmad, the other midfielder, I can't remember, Thanasi Lessie.
Yep.
So players like that, it's just a big change. But obviously, a lot of these players have played at Berkala in the past. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, Alan Welsh played there. Ryan Yates has played there.
Tyrese Conway.
Tyrese.
Yep.
They've also picked up Abdul Balamba, another exciting youngster who's played in the state leagues and impressed in a lower league team. So hopefully he gets a big chance on the big stage for them now.
Yeah, look, I think they'll do well. Like I said, the players that they've brought in are all NPL quality players. They all know each other already. I think there's already there will already be a connection there. So I just think it's a matter of how Stav Galekis manages to finalise and to add those final touches into that squad that just makes them gel. But yeah, I think I think they're going to have a good year.
Very, very well. That's all the teams having gone through. We'll go through our, I guess, sort of league player individual sort of stuff. First up, surprise packages. For mine, I have it as Berkala because I think just with the quality coming up has to be some sort of surprise. Mark, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've actually got Berks as a surprise package as well. I think they'll play finals, so I think there's always a team that does really well, and I think that's going to, like, as in a team that comes up. Mobry did it a few years ago. I think it's Berks' turn this year, and I think they'll be the surprise package.
Yeah, I mean, there was that. I'm not sure how long ago it goes back to, but the team, one of the teams that gets promoted, almost always plays finals in the first year they get promoted into the NPL. But my surprise package is FK Beograd. I think they're going to have a fantastic season. Their team looks so solid all around the park. Great midfield, great attacking options. The defence as well seems like it's going to be sorted out with a couple of the signings. I think they're my surprise package.
And their coach is a nice guy. My surprise package is also West Torrens Berkala, but also Playford City. And I say surprise package in that I'm expecting them both to be able to stay up. And I expect Berkala to make top 6. I expect they'll be playing finals. My other surprise package would be Para Hills Knights if they stay up.
Yeah.
Sorry, boys.
Fair enough. At least you're honest about it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
look,
I like you said earlier on, Mark, I don't like to be in a position where I'm wishing bad or negative on clubs, but I also want to have an open discussion and say what I honestly think. And I honestly think Para Hills Knights, if they can stay up, I'll be surprised. Yeah. So I hope they surprise me. I don't think they will, but I hope they do.
Fair enough. Golden Boot predictions. We'll start with Alessio this time around.
I've gone the new man for Metro Stars, Owen Windsor.
Have you all done the same?
Yeah. Purely based on the fact that Metro have just, as I said, Ren, Temulkovsky, they bring them in, they bang the goals, and they create a lot of chances. It will be close. Like I think, like last year, it won't be the Temulkovsky year where it was just 1
20 plus
out.
goals. Yeah.
It'll be close. You've still got the likes of Marino. You've got McCabe. You've got the regulars that are going to be up there. Anthony Costa, Blackwood, I think, will probably score goals. Penendez, I can't state enough how many goals he scores. So you're going to have those, and I think it'll be a lot tighter, but I think he might just purely based on the fact that Metro make a lot of chances.
I think I would just echo that by saying it's all about the ball supply to a striker.
It is.
And as having played as a midfielder, I always prize myself in my assists, because if you can supply the goal scorer or the striker, it's up to him to put it away. That's his one job. He's only got one job to do, but he can't do it if you can't get the ball to him. And I think Metro Stars are one of the best ball suppliers or chance makers, creators from their midfield going forward. And I think that'll be the difference. It's not that I think Owen Windsor is going to be a super striker because I've never seen him play before, but I think the supply he'll get and the reputation he comes with as a combination is perfect for him to be set up as the top goal scorer.
And Metro is a team that if they sign someone, they know exactly what they want out of them, what they're going to get as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the first week he came in, I'm pretty sure he signed during the week. On the weekend, I think he scored 1 or 2 against South Adelaide.
He landed, then played like 2
I think
days
he scored
later.
against Avondale as well in their preseason friendly over in Melbourne.
So maybe the more pertinent question would have been, who will be the second top goal scorer this year?
Well, I was undecided. I didn't have Owen Windsor. I had one of either Ren, Mark Marino, or George Blackwood.
Right, okay.
I was just undecided and couldn't really decide.
Yeah.
But
they're all Metro Stars players.
No, they're all
not George
different.
Blackwood. No.
They're all different.
Oh,
Ren
Blackwood.
Nagamatsu.
Yeah.
And the
okay.
Marinos Campbelltown.
Yes, of course. Yeah. No.
League table predictions.
We're going to do player of the year or goalkeeper of the year, or we can do that after?
I reckon we'll do league first.
All right.
We'll do league first. So, starting in 12th place, I have Para Hills.
I do as well.
So do I.
I do as well. Para Hills. Sorry.
Vote of confidence then.
Apologies. Former club, apologies.
11th place, I have Croydon to be relegated.
I do as well.
I've actually shuffled it around. I didn't have Adelaide United there, but I do now. I've got Adelaide United's NPL team to finish
Wow.
off. Not because I think they're that bad, but because I think all the others might be a bit better,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yep.
Mark?
I made a late change, and I've actually gone with Playford as 11th. Because, like I said, I'm just not sure they've strengthened. But again, I actually think, this will be a blanket. You could throw a blanket over that. Those places in even, I think Para Hills are going to be not a long way, but there is going to be a gap between them and 11th. But then 11th, 10th, 9th could almost be a bit of a blanket.
Very interesting. Those are the two relegated teams. 10th place, I have FK Beograd.
I have Playford.
I have Adelaide United youth team.
I have Croydon.
Okay.
And the reason I changed that was because Margouche.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If we might heading off track a little bit.
That's fine.
If Adelaide United's NPL side are relegated, what happens next year?
They play State League One.
State League One.
They
They don't
started
stay
there.
up?
Nope.
They
Okay.
started in the State League One and they got promoted in the first
Wasn't
year
sure if
over
there
there.
was some special
No.
arrangement for them.
Because interstate, a lot of those A-League teams play in NPL 2s and 3s,
Yeah,
especially
a
when they
a
start
lot
as
of
well.
them don't play in their top league.
I think
It's quite rare. I
is
think
one of either Victory or City only just got promoted
Yeah.
to
Victory,
their
I think, yeah.
MPL,
Yeah.
I think, last year.
NPL 1, yeah.
It's good to have people around here who know what they're talking about, isn't it?
9th place, next.
Yep.
Playford for me.
9th, I've actually got Adelaide Comets.
I have Bacala.
Adelaide United.
Okay. 8th place, I have Croatia Raiders.
8th place, I have Croatia Raiders.
I have Playford.
Raiders.
7th place, I have Adelaide Comets just missing out on finals.
7th place, I have FK Beograd, just missing out in finals.
I have Comets in 7th as well.
Comets.
Now on to finals. 6th place, I have West Torrens Berkala.
Oh, in 6th place, just squeezing in, I have Modbury Jets.
I have Croatia Raiders.
I have FK Beograd.
5th place, I have Modbury Jets.
5th place, I have Berkala, cementing a top 6 final spot after just having been promoted.
I have Beograd in 5th.
I have Adelaide City in 5th.
4th place, I have the youth team of Adelaide United.
Right, I've got Croydon.
I've got Adelaide City in 4th.
I have Berkala. That's why I said about surprise package. I think they'll be up there.
Into the top 3 now. 3rd place, I have Adelaide City.
I also have Adelaide City.
I have Campbelltown.
I have Campbelltown.
2nd place, I have Metro.
Second,
I also have Metro 2nd.
I have Campbelltown second.
I have Modbury in 2nd.
Whoa.
I can't think of who you have. I have 1st place Campbelltown.
I have Metro.
I've got Metro.
I've got Modbury.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very interesting. On that, player and all goalkeeper of the year, I have, who do I have? I have the easy option of Alex Mullen
For goalkeeper or player? Or?
for player of the year. I actually have Vinny Barbaro as goalkeeper of the year for me.
I missed the memo about the goalkeeper of the year, but I've got Alex Mullen down as the best and fairest, or whatever we call it, player of the year for
Sergio Melta.
Sergio Milto medal. That's right.
My goalkeeper of the year, I have John Hall from Adelaide City. My player of the year, I have Kristen Konstantopoulos from FK Beograd.
This one, I've gone for player of the year. I've actually gone with McCabe.
Which one? You can't just say McCabe
McCabe.
here.
Doubles his chances, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not
Doubles his votes.
stupid. I was either that or Doherty or the Detroit.
A 2 in like 1,000 chance across the entire league.
Exactly. I was trying to make it better for me. No, Hamish McCabe. He's a regular up in the votes. Simple as that. Now, for me, all you guys always talk about goalkeeper of the year and stuff like that. So I actually was like, as we were off air, I was discussing with you guys, okay, who's each keeper? And I look at it and go, okay, who's the number one for each team? And I mean, I could go through all of them, but I won't. But surprisingly, there's a couple of teams that will have 2 keepers. FK Beograd, Kavanagh started, he got injured. Signorello finished off the season really well. Campbelltown, Vegetto and Centofanti, 2 keepers. Again, I don't know who's going to be the number one at this stage.
Who has been starting for them in pre-season so far? Or have they mixed as well?
It's been mixed a lot, but I'm pretty sure Maggetto, the last couple of games, he started the first half.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Maggetta will be the number one, but you just never know what can happen. Dan Vaughan at Comets, he's getting on a bit, but he's also carries a lot of injuries. So we saw him last year miss a few games through injury and things like that. So they've signed Tramonton from Olympic. You've got Croydon, who've got young Tumby and Daniel Margouche. We were expecting Margouche to be the number one. And then obviously John Hall, Adelaide City. So it's been a hard one. And Ostrike, who had a cracking year at Metro last year. So it's such a tough one. Dellingus, cracking year as well at Para Hills. I mean, if it
Made
wasn't
the
for
All-Star
him,
team as well.
Exactly. And if it wasn't for him, I think they probably would have gone down last year. So it's been really hard. But I'm actually going to go. I'm going to go with, if Margouche signs for Croydon, I'm going to go with Dan Margouche.
Fair choice. What is next? Grand finalists and who's going to win the grand final? Mark, we'll go straight back to you for your prediction.
I'm actually going to go with a Modbury Campbelltown.
And the winner?
I'm going to go with, just because I want them to actually get one, and they bust that what seems to be a bit of a voodoo at the moment on the big stage. But I'm going to go with Modbury. Just for that reason.
But to win it 7-2 to completely reverse the hoodoo.
But no, you know what I mean? Morris has built such a good team out there. They've got a great squad. And the other teams have got great squads. I just want them to break that hoodoo, that where it seems to be a big game, they seem to struggle a little bit. Hopefully they can break that. So I'm going to go with that this year.
I went a Modbury Metro final and Modbury to win it as well.
I find it hard to look past Metro Stars and Campbelltown for consistency. So I've got them finishing 1 and 2 at the end of the season. Then we get to this final series that we love here in South Australia. And it's a little bit of a lottery. It's really hard to pick. But I do think those two sides, Metro Stars and Campbelltown, will both get to the final. And I would have a Metro Stars win because they've done so well over the last 2 years. They finished top, which for me, I'm a bit old-fashioned. So the league system is for me a little
first
bit
past
of
the post.
Yeah, and I think it's just a shame to look back in the last couple of years and say, look, the best club or the best team is the team that's finished top of the table, and it's been Metro Stars, but they haven't got a trophy to show for it.
Yep.
Other than that, what do you call it, a minor premiership or something? So I'm going to go for a Metro Stars Campbelltown final, and I'm going to go for a Metro Stars win. But a lot of that will come down to the player management with all of those people coming in. He's going to have he's going to have like the way the team bus is they're going to have 2 team buses to get to some of these games.
They have to extend their change room to put it in both A and
the
B.
team limo.
Yeah. But I think Danny Greystone does a great job there. I think he's the quintessential manager, if you like, and nice guy as well. So I'm going to go for a Metro Stars win in a final against Campbelltown.
I have a Metro Adelaide City final for Metro to win that one. Finally,
so just to recap, you've got Metro Stars, I've got Metro Stars, you've got
Modbury and Modbury.
Modbury and Modbury.
A Modbury Metro Stars final then between the two of us. Finally, I just thought of this one. I'm going to spring it on news. Your big prediction for the season to come can be anything at all. For example, mine will be, I think a goalkeeper will score a goal this year.
So this isn't restricted to NPL, this is across the board?
Can be. Just a big out there prediction of something that you think will happen like that. For example, a goalkeeper scoring goal, which I think will happen this year.
What makes you think? Well, I'll just buy us some time, fellas. So what makes you think that? What's the
I don't know. We had a crazy year last year with a lot of just weird results.
Yeah.
Those couple of 4-4s with Adelaide United, some crazy goal scoring games.
Well, you do know that a goalkeeper scored only a couple of years
Yes.
ago and won goal of the year.
Yes.
Ryan Veach against Croatia for Souths. He scored in a 4-4 draw, I think
And
it
it
was.
was last
and it was
minute
the
as
fourth
well.
goal, last minute, got up for the corner, scored, and it was voted goal of the week and voted for goal of the season.
Right, okay.
I think they were
And
4-0 down as well. Yeah.
They were 4-0 down.
I believe it will happen again.
How did
I
he
believe.
score it? Was it his head?
No,
No.
chest and volley.
Chest and volley, yeah.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
Bought you enough time?
Have I bought you enough time?
No.
So what other
I can buy you boys some time if you need to.
Yeah, I haven't really prepared for this. So look, a goal from someone's own half. Are we just gonna? I'm just gonna end up
You're just going
listening.
to say Buko to score from his own
That's
half.
probably going to happen. That's not a surprise at all to be in.
No,
to be
I mean,
honest.
he probably shoots once like that every week.
I am seriously considering a comeback for one season. Not in the NPL or even
You playing?
WNPL, yeah.
Are you saying you playing?
all right.
I'm considering playing one more season.
I can go one better. I'm playing this year for an NPL team this year.
He's not wrong.
And
One game, March the 1st, Para Hills versus Playford at Playford for the Seamus Marin Memorial Game.
Yep.
In support of men's depression.
Oh, good.
And so it's an absolutely stellar cast of players on both teams. It will be released soon. But yeah, so March the 1st, I'll be putting possibly the gloves, but definitely the boots.
Stellar cast, and neither of us have had a call.
So
Well, at least I haven't.
Alessio, is yours Mount Barker related?
No, I was actually going to go. We're going to see an NPL game this year with 4 red cards.
Yeah, which teams?
That's not my
I was
prediction.
going to say four red cards and Eastern United would be involved in one, but we've already seen that in the pre-season. No.
Very good.
That's a surprise. So you want something completely off the cuff?
Yeah.
I think a goal in a team's own half, and maybe I'll be putting the boots on for one season.
A
That's
personal
me.
one. A personal one.
You're done. Just Mark, is that right? You need some more time, Mark.
I could, to be honest, don't have anything that I can. All right, here's one. JJ to win goal scorer of the year for SL1.
Top goal scorer.
Top goal scorer. Because it's likely. That's actually likely to.
With how many goals?
That's actually, there's the call. I reckon he's going to score.
Last time he did it in State League 1, I reckon he scored like 36.
Yeah, I was going to say, I reckon he's going to score over 30 goals in State League 1.
That's a good one. I like it. Perfect. That's all of us done. Unless you guys have anything else left to say for this.
Nothing further to add, Your Honour.
Perfect. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for enjoying us. As per the words of Alessio Carocci, we'll see you during the regular season as we normally do every Wednesday night, where we'll go through each and every game, well, most games from all the leagues. And yeah, we'll see you then. Thank you to you guys for joining me here today in person for the first time doing this together. An absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
No
Thanks for
problem at
enjoying
all.
us.
We'll see you during the regular season for one game at a time. This has been our NPL season preview and our season previews in general.
Yeah, we're locked in. I got the skills to make the girls sing and the geezers too. Yeah, we're doing this thing.